talk about, and certainly around the country. But fans continuing to file in here to Mim Gym, wanting to see what happens in the latest edition of this volleyball showdown. Things put in action as we are now underway in the opener. And there you see the initial celebration on the point secured, and Virginia Tech, as a result, will end up keeping Walgren in service after a 1-0 start for the Hokies. You know, when you are a team coming off of the type of experience these two teams had over the weekend, and we'll document it a little more for you, the early impact you can gather, and certainly it's always true in a rivalry game as well, going to be key. So the Hokies looking for a fast start in search of what would be just their second ACC win on the season. So far, so good. The first 2 points belonging to Virginia Tech. What was the weekend for the Hokies? A scheduling moment that is a true barometer of where you are, and these coaches talking about how it also lends itself to seeing the type of culture that both of them are trying to create in their respective programs. When you look squarely in the eyes of the top-ranked team in the country in Pitt, as well as SMU. Hokies dropping their decisions to SMU on Friday and Pitt on Sunday. Straight set fashion, SMU hitting at a clip of 319 to set the tone against the Hokies in their first meeting of this past weekend. And for the Hokies, they've turned the page nicely with the 3-0 run to begin things before it goes over to Virginia here. When you consider that that match with the top-ranked team in the country basically ended on an 11-0 run. It was 12-2 down the stretch with the Hokies securing a couple of points after an 11-0 run that sealed up the straight sets victory as Pitt rolled through the Commonwealth in 6 sets. But this is the week you circle when you talk about the communication between these programs and these teams and their fan bases, the chance they'll have on this Wednesday and this Friday to, in Virginia's case, make a little further noise in the ACC, and in the case of both of these programs, notch another point in that Commonwealth clash. Virginia answering back nicely. A couple of quick ones for the Hoos to pull within one, and now able to pull all the way up alongside of the Virginia Tech Hokies, and doing so on the good work of Brooklyn Borum, who stays back there on the serve line. Borum did not play in that contest against Pitt. Saw time against SMU, and it obviously was the opposite from a scheduling standpoint, though the results very similar for Virginia. As last Friday, #1 Pitt handled business 25-9, 25-9, 25-15 here on grounds. 20th win of the season for that squad. Olivia Babcock and company, just what you would have expected them to be. 17th sweep of the season. Tori Stafford shined in that one. But again, that's a team, an understandable challenge for both of these squads that has played in 3 consecutive Final Fours, only team in the country to appear in the last 3, and those semifinals appearances really grabbing your attention for the Panthers of late. There's a 3-0 straight sets set back to 12th ranked SMU to close out the weekend portion for Virginia. That was 25-16, 25-10, 25-14 for a team looking to pursue some NCAA tournament activity this fall. Cavaliers with the same thing in mind in many ways. Combos like Borum, and now Abby Tatter, who is back there to serve this for a Virginia team within a couple. The reason for that pursuit, which we'll discuss as we get a little deeper into this one. But an even start between these two teams with such an even history as we documented coming in. And Virginia Tech, every time the Cavaliers try to close things up, able to take what was a 3-0 run to begin things for a spin in order to stay out front. Jasmine Robinson now to serve. So the stage set for you on two teams looking for a bounce back, two teams battling it out with high stakes. And now it's a matter of execution for these two. as they go head-to-head here on the floor. Ode rotating in. High school All-American who may be one of those major X factors on this squad when you consider what she has put together for Virginia, introducing herself to Hoos fans, and she becomes a catalyst for this successful 6th point for the Hoos. Utilize her in a number of ways. Front row setter. One of the premier roles right now, the work she is doing back on the serve line, grabbing the attention of Hoos fans. 8th point, the answer back for the Hokies. A 3-0 start and an 8-6 advantage for Virginia Tech. Back set, able to find some open real estate. Mentioned the different locations from which impact can be made as you see Virginia and Becca White find a way to dump one in there for the Hokies, or for the Cavaliers, I should say, to answer that Hokies lead. This right into the net, the service error that will hand it back to Virginia Tech. Isn't that the trend that we have witnessed thus far in this opening set? As every time it's looked like the Cavaliers were going to close right up on the Hokies and pull even. The ball changing sides of the floor. Here Virginia will have it right back as both teams trade those service miscues. Kate Johnson taking care of it for UVA. And as has been the trend throughout the first portion of things here, it goes right back over to run the score to 10-8. Worth another look here. Take a look at this tremendous kill. As all smiles with the love of a teammate for Abby Tatter. Coach Tatter, you know, primarily for her role as middle blocker and impact player, but coming in right near the top of the team. Kills per set. Not your average individual from a blocking standpoint. One of the key threats for Virginia as well. Serves as a catalyst for this single point of separation once more. And that's going to be a little too strong on the swing, and a point for the Hokies that underscores the narrative that has marked this opening stanza. With the crew out of Blacksburg working their way over to Charlottesville on this night. Well, another miscue in service that will split the first 22 points right down the middle. Set up in the middle and somewhat on cue from our conversation earlier. Here is Abby Tatter to lay that home for Virginia. Cavaliers now up alongside and out front. They do it in the middle portion of this opening set. Strong delivery and a perfect location. As Dupre gets involved, that of course is a familiar name for Hokies fans, working your way from one side of the rivalry to the other and making a contribution for UVA to the tune of 13-11. Right back up on that net, rallies around, kind of pinballs over for the Hokies, and then perfect timing right in between a couple of those backline performers for UVA, as we call Belle Patrick's name for one of the first times. She had 10 kills in that contest against SMU. Perhaps her most complete when you look at all the peripheral things she was able to do in that matchup as well. Performance of the year, makes her presence known here against Virginia, but only momentarily as it's back over to the Hoos. Trying to go down the line, but unable to land it. A service error means the back and forth continues. Set up beautifully, but just a little too strong. As Haley Pierce tried to land that inside the back line, it'll mean 15-13 UVA. If that's where things sit on a very close look on that back line. Teams gather up as they take a glance. We'll pause briefly. Hot start between Virginia and Virginia Tech in the Commonwealth Clash. Who's lead the Hokies by a pair early.
Again, next November 22nd, 7 p.m. against Louisville. We can't wait to see you there.
Bill, we talked about how close and competitive this one has been thus far. After a 3-0 start for the Hokies, it's a slight advantage for UVA. It will stay with the Hoos. As they look to build upon that advantage. As close as the previous effort was for Virginia Tech, this one landing just where it needs to for the Cavaliers to push out front. High watermark lead-wise for UVA in the opener. Could not have walked it out there and placed it any more perfectly if you're Virginia. And just enough real estate to find some open space up front, answering the beginnings of the UVA run. Cavaliers, you'll remember, were off to a 17-4 start this year, the best since 2003, before running into that duo that we talked about over the weekend. But a group full of great potential with plenty left in front of them in the ACC. And one of the things you notice about this program this year, having a great time. You've no doubt had the visuals to support the positive energy that surrounds Shannon Wells' group in the fall of this 24 season. That's going to be off the back, and here are the Hokies now. After falling into what was the largest hole experienced by the crew out of Blacksburg, working right back to give Haley Pierce a chance. And she delivers a service ace to pull within one. Of course, Pierce, the redshirt sophomore. Go back to that last delivery from her, a vision of the hopes for Hokies on the road this night. But it has been the theme of this opening set. And just when it appears one team may be piecing something together, either the opponent has been able to side out or a miscue has been taken advantage of. This is a long run, one more chance for UVA. It's kept alive. Valiant effort by the Hoos. In the end, the point will belong to the Hokies on one of the more memorable rallies we've seen. Take another look at this. The extent of Mim Jim needed and full layout to keep it alive. And a vision of just what Brooklyn Borum brings to the table for UVA. The Hokies utilizing the finish that time around and quickly able to add an 18th point. As the teams, as we said in their 82nd meeting, splitting them 41-40, even again on the scoreboard. And the tone setting sequence of this opener of back-to-back Commonwealth Clash games. What a match it's been so far. Borum swings away. She was throwing her hands in the air as if to celebrate a bit prematurely that time. It took a second effort from Virginia to get the job done. Abby Tatter and company will celebrate a 19th point and forge ahead once more. Ashley Lee back there now for UVA. And a strong finish in the middle for Abby Tatter, as Virginia is the first to reach the 20-point threshold. There is that energy we were talking about from UVA. Timed this beautifully. The kill of the night thus far from Abby Tatter to place Virginia out front by a couple. But if you've been through the first portion of this contest with these two rivals, you know there's an answer coming from the other side, and Virginia Tech takes it away with Walgren to serve within one. More of the same from Brooklyn Borum and Abby Tatter. What a combo they have been in the early going when you think about what they've accomplished in this opening set. Tatter drives it home. Borum to the serve line for Virginia. Back set and driven home nicely by Malinowski. She turns and provides a little extra encouragement for her teammates after coming up in a key moment for Virginia Tech. Tatter now back with it after the Hoos have an answer of their own. Set up just inside the pin far side, and as true as can be is Haley Pierce to notch the Hokies' 21st point. Well, you know you're going to get the best from your opponent when you factor the rivalry in and put it in the mix. Did you know it would sit at 22 apiece, however, and 3 away from the finish line of the opening set? The tug of war settled in no way between these teams. Coach Marcy Byers' squad coming in on the trip over from Blacksburg. Scored the first 3. We're looking for that type of run one more time to send a message inside Mim Jim, but the service error will slide it over to Virginia. And into the hands of Dode. Dealt with initially on that back line by Borum. But a cleanup required by the libero. Kate Johnson, after Virginia Tech notches its 23rd. As tight as this rivalry's history in the opening set. A bit too strong, and it will be the Hokies in position to snatch away the opening set. However, before Dulesky can go to the serve line, timeout is taken. We'll pause briefly as well. Closing in on a decision in the opening sequence of the Commonwealth Clash. Virginia Tech on the verge, attempting to take the opening set after a 3-0 run to begin things in the tone-setting moment of this first of 2 in a stretch of 3 days in the Commonwealth Clash. Erica Dulesky back there to serve. Data. Football standout at Penn. From an athletic family and trying to make her mark on this opening set. Virginia has an answer. Response comes near side from Dupre. Who else? And she will work her way back to the serve line for UVA. There's Dupre. You know by now, Flint Hill product out of Alexandria, transferred over from Virginia Tech. Now trying to handle things against her former team. Though with things even at 24 apiece, she will be removed from the serve line, and the Hokies will have a second chance to try and close things down. The responsibility of Haley Pierce this time around. And the Hokies able to put a couple together here, and in doing so, take the opening set. And the 16 kills as a unit off of it. The catalyst for Virginia Tech taking the opening set. Now remember, this is a couple of teams that were looking just for some type of confidence building moment in that opening set after running into the top of the league in terms of Pitt and SMU, as we documented a little earlier. It's Virginia Tech that gets on track, at least with the set victory, and one of the more competitive you'll see. Virginia takes the first point of the second in an effort to battle back, but it's going to swing over to the aforementioned Belle Patrick now. Patrick hitting at a .625 clip herself. We gave you the overall numbers for her, but just a little flick of the wrist, exactly what Virginia needed, as Ashley Lee contributes for UVA. Take a look at this, just out of the reach of Jasmine Robinson and into wide open floor space. So you can make a case, both teams very solid as they continue to answer one another back and forth in an opening set that could have gone either way, which is a good sign for these two coaches looking for their teams to find rhythm after experiencing what was just an impressive run through the Commonwealth. Mentioned that Pitt team was #1 in the country, and SMU the only team to hand them a set back in the ACC. So we're talking about top-tier activity all the way around. Getting back in the back and forth swing of things here in the Commonwealth Clash. With a 3-1, now make it 3-2 start as it swings back over to the Hokies. Jasmine Robinson, couple of kills on 5 total attacks. She also factored in with a block in that opening set. Her work here, effective on the serve line. She'll stay there, looking to give Virginia Tech the lead. But this is as forceful an answer as we have seen tonight from Dupree. Now in her senior campaign, again, she is from Alexandria. Already making her mark as a part of the Cavalier Classic all-tournament team right out of the gate. Back in the month of September, who can forget what she put together against Hofstra. Part of that quest for the crown, all-tournament team and co-MVP member, just really getting into the thick of things with immediate impact after spending the 2021 through 2023 campaigns on campus at Virginia Tech. Played in 22 and in 22 after appearing in 17 matches upon arriving from Flint High School, and never more action than her last season with the Hokies, in which she started 12 and played in 26 with over 220 kills, averaging 2.5% before bringing her talents to Charlottesville. Hokie fans know the history well, remembering some of those numbers. A couple of major 19 kill and 22.5 point tallies in a contest against East Carolina, one of the more memorable of her moments in that Hokies uniform, but making contributions already in this one for Virginia. We talk about her so much as these teams continue to go back and forth before Virginia begins to pull away here, because she still leads the way with 6 kills for UVA on the night. Dode stapled to the serve line as Virginia does try to create some separation, effort to pancake this, but before she can lay out and get underneath it, contact with the floor is secured for a Virginia Tech point. The trio of Patrick, Walgren, and Pierce, as we documented, leading the way for Virginia Tech thus far. And You put Dupre's name alongside the likes of Tatter, Lee, and Borum, who we've talked about extensively as the leaders thus far for Virginia in this match. The second set shaping up to be as competitive as the initial battle between these two. Prey, who we were discussing back in a consequential slot here, kept alive valiantly. By the libero before eventually Virginia claims the point to keep Dupre in control. You're wondering about the numbers: 7 kills on 19 total attacks, so far more active than anyone else on the roster right now. Tatter the closest with 9 total attacks, and we mentioned her 5 kills. Currently second on the team. It has been Dupre to this point with a little extra perhaps on the mind and heart and in the step tonight. And she is going to camp out back there on that serve line in these moments in an effort to serve as the catalyst in those Virginia colors. Timeout, as it is a doubling up for the Cavaliers of the Hokies here in this second set, trying to battle back from a 1-0 deficit after the Hokies took the first. Started 17-4. It was a who's best start since 2003. On the verge of NCAA tournament conversation for Coach Shannon Wells' squad. It would be the first trip since '99, since the turn of the century. And just the 3rd trip all time for Virginia under the 4th-year head coach, who you know by now spent 7 years in an assistant role at the University of Florida. A very wise staff there with the Gators, seeing this sport at its highest level and in its crispest form. A 7-year assistant, now a 4th-year head coach, and this, the banner year, 8-20 in the first, 12-17, 11-17, and now 17-6 in real time, as things been beginning to come together from a program standpoint. And a player very familiar to both these programs, remaining on that serve line as Virginia is putting together not only its answer, but its run of the night, trying to even up the sets total between these two. And it should come as no surprise that maybe we're in for a back and forth tonight. Who can forget the first ever volleyball match held at John Paul Jones Arena back in 2023 when these teams met in that 5-set thriller. A part of what was a UVA sweep a year ago. Point to the Hokies here, putting a stop to that 5-0 scoring run for Virginia. You know, with that 5-0 run, hit percentage becoming a little more equal now Hokies coming back down to earth at 234 and Virginia at 250 overall as they settle into this match. Here's one of the better of the rallies we've seen, and there were the finishing touches. And Virginia will celebrate a quick answer of their own as the lead runs out to 13-6. This easily the most separation either team has enjoyed in the match, as the first one was a complete back and forth. If you weren't with us for the opening set, rarely were they separated by more than 2 or 3 points. Cavaliers more than doubling up the Hokies here in set number 2. Good communication from Virginia, but tremendous touch on the answer from Belle Patrick as she lays home another point for the Hokies. Patrick, you'll remember, a player who talked about setting the tone, opened up with first and second career double-doubles. And continuing to impress all the way up through this past weekend. Remember, we told you she was the headliner in many ways for the Hokies in that contest against SMU. How about that combo? Malinowski working together. Robinson there on the front, and the aforementioned player Belle Patrick. Now back into the mix and everybody ready to resume. Tandem block for UVA. They waited to be sure, but it turns out that the point is notched as Ashley Lee gathers it up. Barrow flying in there. But it is right down the line near side in front of the up official where Virginia gets the job done. Johnson in the libero row. In that role, and place of Chameleon, who had been there. On Friday night. Think about the scenario the Who's were in. Trying to get everyone back to health and everyone back to usability can be the case for so many programs this time of year. Seeming to come into their own in this second set. Still having doubled up the Hokies 16-8. Though Virginia Tech will notch a ninth to get Belle Patrick back to the serve line once more. Long run for Kate Johnson on one side. Perfect touch on what looked like it was going to be the finisher up front from Haley Pierce. But it was somehow kept alive, and there you see the trio up front that in the end worked together to get the job done. Malinowski right in the middle of it all. That received touch on the front line, which makes this a valiant effort to keep it alive. Well, the point finished off up front, but it was the tremendous work of the Hokie libero with a right-handed lunge. From Mangual Duran to pull the Hokies up within 4. And that's going to take us to a timeout, as Virginia had built a substantial lead, but you knew what you've seen in the heart and fight of these two teams tonight in the Commonwealth Clash in effect, there would be an answer from the Hokies. It has arrived. The separation now 4 as we have a timeout.
During the second, Cavaliers tally over 11 kills, which means everyone in attendance is going home with a coupon for ice cream at Kill Wings on the downtown mall. Be sure to stop by the marketing table on your way out and pick up yours at the end of the match.
The Virginia Tech Hokies in their 46th season as a program under the direction of fifth-year head coach Marcy Byers. Coming in with 7 wins on the year, looking for a second ACC moment in this campaign. She's closing in on 300 wins overall. You'll remember her connections to the Commonwealth run deep. Spent some time at Radford. From 08 to 19 was the 4-time Big South Coach of the Year. Working opposite Shannon Wells tonight. Fourth-year head coach on one side, a fifth-year head coach on the other. You know, Byers for Virginia Tech got her start at Division II Shawan in 2006. Record at 288. On the winning side of it, 264 setbacks. Overall, as you think back to her days, she's one of the premier coaches in the Big South before taking over in Blacksburg. Her Hokies answered nicely to pull within 4 ahead of the timeout, and things holding steady there for a squad that had been doubled up. 16-8 most recently at the hands of the Hoos. Ella Guilfoy in there to try to close things up a little further than that prior to the timeout moment, but Virginia will have none of it. How about this change of pace from UVA? Take it to 18-13. The work of 1-5 giving way to another is Ashley Lee. Reminds everyone of her impact. Point follows on a hit that goes awry to put the Hoos back on the doorstep of 20 again. Hatter going to hand this off into the grasp of Haley Velasquez. Hoos will let this one go, and it's a point that will keep the Wilmington, Delaware native right back there on the serve line. You know, this is an experienced Virginia team. We talked about the postseason aspirations and how the program is coming into its own. Look no further than this group of 6 seniors. Velasquez, one of them, to put it in play here. Great serve and good recovery. And Will Duran again able to impress on the Virginia Tech side. She goes to the deck to handle it one more time. The libero having been everywhere for the Hokies. Contact secured up front, and Virginia Tech claims the point. Talking about the group of Virginia seniors, though. Velasquez, Dupre, Gomillion, limited of late as well, but Lee, Tatter, and Borum, whose names you've heard time and again already tonight. That group of 6 seniors with all the experience, with the culture being built here in Charlottesville in their grasp. The leadership providing the success of this campaign. Trying to return to that form. Virginia was looking for a second set victory here. Seemed to be cruising toward it in an effort to split the first two. But the Hokies making this one far more competitive now at 20-15. Cavaliers content to trade him though, as the advantage grows to 6. Set up beautifully. And the perfect swing. As Virginia has Kate Dean involved to drive it home. Hokies took the first 26-24. Took more than the usual 25-point threshold to get the job done. Virginia inching ever closer to their first set victory in a few matches here. The 22nd point takes them closer to the doorstep. The Worthington, Ohio native, for all the talk about seniors, it's one of the freshmen. And Becca White, who gets the job done for UVA here. With the Cavaliers just a couple away now. Things set up in the middle for the Hokies. Libero to the far pin. And the delivery a bit too strong, which is going to place Virginia at set point, trying to take the second. The Michigan product puts a left hand into it. Right through that potential Virginia block, and the Hokies stay alive. And set number 2. Hokies, we talked about coming down into the mid-2s in the hit percentage in the early portion of this second set. Now hitting at a clip of 176. Yet hanging in there until this service miscue into the net hands that second set to UVA. So Virginia having doubled up the Hokies in the middle to get the job done this season, and the volleyball edition of the Commonwealth Clash will be settled this particular week. A home and home. They play in Blacksburg a couple of nights from now. Here in Charlottesville, these two teams having split the first 2 sets. Swing set on the horizon between them now, and control of the matchup for grabs. Virginia wearing those gray tops on the right side of your screen, as the home team will secure the first impact moment of this third set. In doing so, send Brooklyn Borum to the serve line. Just the 1 kill for Borum thus far on 10 total attacks. She does have 6 digs for Virginia, though. Cavaliers without a service ace to this point. And Virginia Tech with 3 of those. One of the catalysts for the Hokies taking that 26-24 opening set and 1-0 advantage. You're wondering about how things have gone on the serve line all the way around. Service errors sit at 8 for the Hokies and 3 for the Cavaliers. A 1-0 start for Virginia here in the third, and kept alive and sent across by the former Hokie Dupree. Well-timed block up on that front to take care of it, as Jordan Holland makes sure the first 2 points of this third set are split evenly. Take a look at the assistance that she provides on that far side to make it 1-1. We talked how important this contest was as a bounce back, as the Hokies bounced back from that first Virginia point to take 2 of their own and the slight advantage in the beginning stages of the third. Hokies dropped 6 straight matches coming into this one, and Virginia had dropped 6 straight sets. It turned into 7 with the Hokies' success in the opener. But both teams with something to build on now. That close win in that first set. And then Virginia with that equalizer just a moment ago. And out front 3-2. The Hoos with a solid start to this third. Landed beautifully just inside that far line to even things up at 3 apiece. Set right in the middle, and a response is there on a strong delivery from KD. You can provide another. But the second a bit too strong. As things will sit at 4-3. Brief pause gives us a chance to check some of the numbers for you. 75 attacks for Virginia Tech, 76 of them for the Hoos. Kills are +3 advantage for Virginia, led by Dupre with 8, Tatter with 7. And as the total continues to climb for the Hokies, worth letting you know who's out front of the stat sheet for Virginia Tech. It's Bill Patrick, 8 kills. Pierce has 6, Malinowski with 5, and Walgren with 4. 2 other players having their names called in that department, Robinson and Hallman with a couple of kills apiece. Long run as the extent of Mim Jim is used just in front of the fans to keep it alive for Virginia. There's that change of pace again. Won't work out this time for Ashley Lee. And despite a valiant effort from Mangual Durant, the Cavaliers notch the point. And they will celebrate with Lauren Bowie. Most recently a major contributor in the victory over BC. She knocked on the doorstep of double figures in kills. Ended up with 8 total. He was a staple in the lineup for Virginia a season ago. Now utilized in key spots by the Hoos. One of those a moment ago. Helpful to the 5-point total both teams enjoy. This is right into the net. That's a 4th service error on the night for Virginia, and it gives the Hokies the lead. Think about the even nature of the statistics thus far tonight. 30 digs to 29, +1 for UVA. Blocks advantage of +3 for Virginia Tech. Most everything else, besides the blocks and the service aces, which sit now at 3-1 Hokies, within very minimal separation from one another, and the scoreboard bears it out with a 7-5 split here in the third. May take some getting used to for you when we talk about the likes of SMU and those being conference contests. Of course, Stanford and Cal in the mix and on the schedule. And you look at 18 teams when you glance at the ACC standings. You're wondering about how it all shakes out right now. Louisville, Pitt, and UNC, the trio of teams at the head of the class, with just a conference loss apiece. Mentioned that it was that SMU team that handed Pitt, the #1 team in the country, that loss. And they're, along with Virginia, in a crowded middle of the pack in the 18-team league. And looking to crawl a little further out of the cellar, just ahead of that Clemson squad, looking for its first impact moment in conference play. The Hokies sit at 1-11 overall in the ACC. As you well know, strong finish to the season can do so much for your culture and your future. And as you well know, records can be thrown out when these two teams get together in a Commonwealth Clash environment. That's what Virginia Tech is reminding the fans of in Mim Gym, taking the first set and up 5 in the third, as control of this match remains up for grabs in the Commonwealth Clash.
Get your posters signed by members of the Virginia Volleyball team on the court. Once again, there will be an autograph session open to all fans at the conclusion of tonight's match.
Erica Deleski puts it back in action for the Virginia Tech Hokies. Point goes UVA. Timely gather them up and discuss it with the Who's down 10-5. Results in an immediate answer for the home team. Dupre again, still leading the way with those 8 kills. Assist to her credit as well. And nobody with more attacks for Virginia than Dupre. 25 total attacks to earn those 8 kills. So the percentage may not wow you, but she's been right in the thick of it for UVA. And how about this response from the other side? Driven home by Jasmine Robinson. Only the 8th time she's tried to drive one home, and has connected on 4 of them for the Virginia Tech Hokies, but these teams are trading them back and forth right now. As a service error hands it right back to Kate Johnson. Both teams looking for rhythm in the middle stages of the third. Ella Guilfoy, freshman, back on that serve line for the Hokies. Right through that Virginia block near side. She'll stay there. Guilfoy is coming into her own after not seeing action following the first handful of contests this year in which she was limited. And she has provided a spark for Virginia Tech, with bodies everywhere trying to circle around every Virginia delivery, and it will work. Ends up with the block as Jordan Hallman is in the right place at the right time. Mentioned this is a category where the Hokies currently have an advantage, and it grows. Blocks sit at a +4 advantage for Virginia Tech, and the lead in this set now it's 7 as the Hokies have doubled up the Hoos before the timeout. Here in the fall with that score, and certainly with the Commonwealth Clash in effect, you think about the trip Virginia will make to Blacksburg Thanksgiving weekend for one of the premier moments of the Commonwealth Clash. This week, the premier moment on the volleyball side, as these two teams get together twice in 3 days to settle it on the floor. This third set critical, and Virginia comes out of the timeout. Second time that Virginia has answered out of the timeout with points. Speaks to the overall sense that Shannon Wells had calling her team over. And Ashley Lee to the serve line as the Cavaliers make it 14-8. Mentioned a slight advantage Commonwealth Clash-wise for the Hokies to this point, with things just getting underway. 5.5 to 4.5 right now. Clash having been won by the Cavaliers overall a season ago. This volleyball series having been swept by the Cavaliers at JPJ and in Blacksburg and Castle a season ago. Hokies finding something here in the third, recapturing what was there in a 26-24 first set. And sending Walgren to the serve line with the advantage at 15-9, and here's UVA's answer. Talk about other sports, busy time of year in crossover season, a busy night tonight here on grounds. Just a few moments ago, the men's basketball season getting underway. Across the way at John Paul Jones Arena. Of course, a new era underway there as well. Something worth noting, two teams that pride themselves on getting together in that sport over the years. Boy, are they entertaining the fans in one of the more historic of the gyms in the history of this rivalry. Mem Gym witnessing a back and forth between these two as Virginia Tech lands this perfectly. And an answer from UVA. Rising tall and finding a perfect location was Dupre. The colors prominently displayed tonight, having crossed over and seen both sides of this rivalry. Attempting to go right down the line, but this will not land in. It'll be a Virginia point, and the Hoos are within 4. Remember, at last time out, the Hokies led at 14-7. May have been close enough as they all turn and look. Velasquez will work her way onto the serve line. It appears as if things are ready to continue from there. Just a little tickle of the tape and able to get it to go down on the other side for a service ace. Virginia with 2 of them tonight to the Hokies 3, closing things up a bit in that category. At the same time that you see the separation on the scoreboard shrink. This is a little too strong, so an ace followed by an error. And it's side outs to Virginia Tech. Virginia responds to pull within 3. There's attempting to come from behind in this third set. That would be a new chapter on a night where the first 2 have been split in very different fashion. Hokies winning a nip and tuck first, back and forth. And sewn together. Thread weaved in and out from one point to the next to the tune of beyond the norm, 26-24. Cavaliers pulled away, ultimately winning the second, 25-16. And here Virginia Tech is trying to return that favor, creating a little more distance with the lead steady at 4. Dulesky back now. All the way across, and the delivery down the line will not connect. Lofted up and kept alive by Dulesky. And just enough juice from the middle for Kate Dean to drive it home. $10 for Dupre, 8 for Tatter, 5 for Dean when you look at the trio atop the stat sheet for Virginia in kills. You can make it 6 with what you just witnessed there. Cavaliers +4 in kills now overall, with 10 more attacks than the Hokies in this contest. Somehow find themselves down 5 here in the third. Well, one of the reasons, Hokies hitting at a much better clip in this set and overall for the match now at 213 to Virginia's 184. Haley Pierce, who leads the Hokies, kills per set with right at 3. Has 6 total in the contest on this night. She will not maintain control on the serve line as the Hoos answer with the 16th. Kate Johnson called upon in that libero role. Looking for a run. UVA, you'll remember, had that 5-0 run in the middle stages of the second. A set they would ultimately take. We'll welcome Jordan Hallman back with her Ella Guilfoy for the Hokies. Hallman just over a block per set for her work up front. Noticed as among the per set leaders for the Hokies. Back set here and flying high. Talk about leadership. Here's Brooklyn Borum for UVA. Finds the connection and pulls the Cavaliers back within 4. Hokies, much like Virginia in the second set, content to trade points here, as the Hoos need to string something together if they're going to pull back up on the heels of their rivals in this third. Ashley Lee. Johnson sets that high. Change of pace from Borum this time, and then a block in the middle that the Hokies were waiting for. Tandem block, but it goes off of that left side and results in an 18th Virginia point. And before the Plano, Texas native can do anything with it from the serve line, everybody's going to have to gather up and talk it over as they evaluate the 21-18 scenario. And you see the usage of the request for Marcy Byers, the head coach of the Hokies. In many ways is a timeout for both teams as well, in what is a separation of 3. Not the first time tonight. A close enough finish that a second request required. And this is important. Virginia Tech trying to close in on what would be a 2-1 advantage. Every notch on that scoreboard critical in this third set. How about that moment? Being shared by a player who you have seen tonight on more than one occasion gives absolutely everything to this program. Sharing a smile with her head coach, the talented libero. Paul Duran, the native of Puerto Rico, that transferred over Missouri, and has provided a great deal of the leadership defensively and with passion and energy with which she has played tonight here in Charlottesville. Well, she requests for a second look and still awaiting the ultimate determination on what currently sits at 21-18 UVA. Like beyond the video evidence, a further communication is taking place at the scorer's table prior to a resumption of action here. Whatever conversation there was in the Virginia Tech huddle is now given way to all eyeballs on our officials. saw Virginia's huddle a moment ago, trying to continue to utilize every moment for strategy, and now both coaches kind of, whether seated or standing, within view of the ultimate outcome of this review. In the end, Virginia Tech will celebrate after utilizing that please take a look scenario and now requesting clarification on her side of the net. Shannon Wells begins a conversation with the official. Our officials tonight are Terry Martin, Daniel Leak, Bryce Pulley. And it looks like it's going to require a full utilization of all those aforementioned individuals to talk it over. Well, this is a lengthy scenario to try and make sure they get it right in what currently sits at 21-18. Now the scoreboard you see there having changed to 22-17 after following the review. It was at least initially indicated that the point was going to be reversed to Virginia Tech, enough so that you saw the Hokies come back on the floor, hands in the air in celebration. But just kind of reading the tea leaves and the body language of Shannon Wells, she almost looked to the other individuals at the scorer's table and said, wait a minute, he told me something different. At least that's what it looked like the body language was saying. And now confusion sets in to some degree. You have to love the way the players are handling it, though, finding alternate methods with which to entertain themselves as it continues to be sorted out. One way or the other, it's going to be either 21-18 and Virginia continuing to surge here in the third, trying to close up the gap, or 22-17 as the scoreboard now has been adjusted to reflect, with the Hokies a little closer to that desired 2-1 advantage. And you'll find out who has the dance moves, as well as the creativity in the Commonwealth clash, as these two teams now challenging one another in ways beyond the scoreboard. Shannon Wells grabbed for her challenge card. And they send the captain over for clarification, as now our up official will speak to Brooklyn Borum. Whatever was communicated now being relayed. Suffice it to say that Coach Wells dissatisfied with the ultimate outcome here, as her team will trail by 5. And the Hokies closing in on back-to-back, or I should say on a couple of sets here, with Virginia's 25-16 win sandwiched in the middle following 26-24. Hokies now at 23-17. Momentum stayed for a moment, as this is too strong. And it will be Borum with a chance to flip the script in the third set for UVA. Now, without the benefit of any further communication and just looking at the reaction of the coaches, Virginia Tech opting to challenge to reverse the call. That reversal was secured, but it seemed Virginia was of the belief it was not going to be, or at least something that was communicated was not in keeping with their liking. But you turn the page now after the extended delay of the day, and these players try to go back at it, turn their focus back to volleyball, and do so as they trade points once more. I'll say it one more time, though. For everything that was going on and the number of conversations required, you tip your cap to the way the players entertained themselves in the midst of that. To say both locked in and somewhat loose in this scenario. This lands for Virginia Tech right there on that line, and in doing so, the Hokies will claim the third set. Not without its conversations, and not without it. This homecoming continues. This time at the helm of that program continues as they'll be in action on Friday. Basketball season underway. We talked about football when we had a 14-7 score earlier. You know, it culminates when these two teams play together, and it culminates in the Commonwealth Clash, and that's what continues here on the volleyball floor, with Virginia taking the first point of the fourth set. That is now a must-have set for UVA to force the decisive fifth. Check of the numbers for you as this fourth gets underway. Virginia Tech hitting tonight at a clip of 240 in real time. Led by Bell Patrick, who's the only player in double figures in kills on the Virginia Tech side of things. Pierce not far behind with 8 total. Walgren with 7. That trio leading the way for the Hokies tonight, who are out front 2-1. Virginia sub 2 all of a sudden in hit percentage. They were just over top of 200% coming into this fourth set, and they even things up at 2 apiece with good work up on that front line from Cadence Booth. Think about this. Dupre leads the way with 10 on a night that has to have a little extra on it, a week that has to have a little extra on it for a player who's seen this rivalry from both sides. Virginia Tech side grabbing the slight advantage at 3-2 through the first 5 points of the fourth. Abby Tatter with 9 on 19 total attacks. Kate Dean with 6. And Lauren Bowie with 5. That the quartet at the top of the stat sheet for UVA on this night in the kills department. Johnson, the libero, having dug out 15 for Virginia in this one. The combo of Walgren with 13 and Duran with 10 in the digs department for the Hokies in this one tonight. Just to check if some of the individuals who've made their mark on this one, and that's enough contact up front for Haley Pierce and company to celebrate another Hokies point. You know, the one area that really jumps off the stat sheet at you, and the good work being done nowhere more clearly than by Jordan Hallman, who has 4 of these tonight, but the 7 blocks, and that's the separation. Hokies in a +5 advantage in blocks overall tonight. Virginia trying to battle back from that, battle back from a 2-1 deficit. And the Hoos will land this to split the first 8 right down the middle. Told you how competitive this rivalry has been over the years as the Commonwealth Clash is renewed here in the fall of 24. 82nd meeting, 41 wins on one side. That's the Virginia side, 40 wins on the other. This match at times has been that competitive, though the Hokies on the slight advantage in sets now. This set up beautifully, and it's going to be pinball through traffic to the ultimate positive outcome that Walgren had hoped for. Victoria Walgren and company out front 5-4. Only for a moment. Tremendous work just inside the pin on the far side to earn the serve line spot. Take one more look at this. As Dupre leads everybody on both sides with 11 driven home in this contest. No contact up on that net here. It'll be a Virginia point. And keep Dupre back there. A Virginia team that brought 7 new ones into the program this year. We talked about the 6 experienced seniors that have led the way. And bigger than the former Hokie when you talk about the fresh faces, all contributing tonight for a Hoos squad that is in a have-to-have-it-now mindset. And up 2 in the 4th. A scattering of fans making their way into Mim Gym tonight. Dialed in on the first of 2 this week between these squads. That's sent back, but well too strong, and every bit of that force. Was secured on the tremendous swing. When you see the reaction from teammates far side as Cavaliers are the beneficiaries of that latest point. About the spot work of Velasquez, who we were talking about there, one of those seniors. Wilmington Delaware product, picking her spot at times, as we've called her name. You think about Lee has done, Johnson, who you saw right there in this moment. We've called Bootstain from time to time. Just looking at some of the individuals that maybe aren't in that headlining unit, but have still been able to do good work on the Virginia side of things tonight that they'll call upon perhaps in key moments in an effort to stay out front here in this 4th. This will help Cavaliers first to double digits as it's a 10-6 separation with the good work net side. Going to take us to a timeout. Virginia looking to even things up and force the sprint to 15. And home in Blacksburg on Friday. Virginia trying to make sure on this Wednesday night that things aren't finished in the lone 2024 edition here at Mim Gym. Up 10-6 in the 4th, but the Hokies taking the first set 26-24 and the third set 25-19 have designs on surging from behind and attempting to close things down. Timeout called to that end. We'll see what kind of response there is out of the timeout. I think you give the Hoos credit for it tonight is the way they have handled their own called timeouts in must-have point scenarios. And it looks like the Hokies are going to return the favor. That point will be awarded. Credit the Hokies. They weren't sure and decided to play the string out either way. But you saw our up official indicate that that did, in fact, find real estate for a 10-7 lead. Or excuse me, a 7th point, closing Virginia's lead to 10-7. We talked about some of the individuals who have made their mark as surrounding cast members tonight, beyond those putting together the major kills numbers on the Virginia side. Worth doing it for a Hokies team that is attempting to battle back here with a couple of points. Mention what Holloman has been able to do, and you've heard Malinowski's name called time and again. Jasmine Robinson has been in the thick of things at times, including a moment ago. Walgren, Pearson, Patrick, as advertised, responsible between them for 30 of the 45 kills that Virginia Tech has found as a unit. Well, this time sending Booth over. For clarification. Coach Shannon Wells comes back to communicate her thoughts to that Virginia bench after the latest point was awarded Virginia Tech. Remember, we had that extended review in the 3rd set, which Hokies wanted another look at it. Ended up paying dividends in the end, but not without a number of conversations between the initial point and the ultimate outcome. So it's a discussion to put in perspective and context there. And this block is worth putting in context as well. Remember, that has been the main weapon for the Hokies tonight. They won't follow it up with another point here. But the work that was done by Patrick for her 2nd block and the Hokies' 8th block of the night in tandem with her teammates on that net, just a vision of why this Hokies team is in prime position in the sets department, even if Virginia owns the lead here in the 4th at 11-9. "17-win season already secured for UVA. The most since they won 18 in an 18-13 campaign in 2015. They're trying to bounce back from a difficult weekend. Both these teams trying to do just that, as SMU and Pitt rolled through the Commonwealth. And it is the Hokies doing it more effectively, it would seem, right now. Hallman again, and Virginia has an answer to stay out front by a couple. You go a little further back when you talk about ACC play. Remember, this is a Hokies team looking for just a 2nd premier moment in the ACC and trying to do it against their rivals. But for the Cavaliers, the 12-match start for UVA at 8-4 in ACC conference play. Best since 2005. Going to try to turn that into a matching win of that total with 8 on the year here tonight. Work to do to that end, and Virginia Tech trying to make it a little tougher as the Hokies notch an 11th point. Teams back up over 200 in hit percentage on this one, and both using the full extent of the gym. How about just how far Dupre had to go to get the job done there? In the end, it was of little consequence as the Hokies come away with it and hand things to the libero. Talked about the hitting clip, 239 now on the match as a whole for Virginia Tech. That'll catch your attention when you consider where that lies from those numbers we gave you earlier. just able to pancake that and keep it alive. Same true on the other side. One more crack at it for UVA. They will work it across, but it is too deep. And the Hokies share a moment of celebration, back within one at 13-12. So many standing around looking right down at the landing spot of that latest delivery. And it will take just a moment to make sure everything's in order for the proper serving environment on the Virginia Tech side. Well, a chance for the fans in Mim Gym to catch their breath in a fourth set that is visions of set number one, which was pushed beyond the 25 threshold and claimed by the Hokies at 26-24. Virginia creating a separation of 2 on their side of things now. And a must-have fourth for UVA. The block is true, right up on that UVA logo and atop the cross sabers. And the Cavaliers have pushed it out to 3 at 15-12. Who's having won 4 consecutive in their series with Virginia Tech, inching closer to putting themselves in position to try and make it 5. If they can force the sprint to 15. Now notching 16 here in the fourth set of our best of 5. They're right up under the net with good work done, but it was an awkward angle on the arrival in the middle, and Virginia inches a little further out front. You thought perhaps you might hear the timeout be called for. It is 17-12, the Virginia advantage, as the Hoos try to pull away and force a winner-take-all scenario.
Your Cavalier volleyball team returns home on Friday, November 22nd at 7 p.m. as they take on the Louisville Cardinals right here in number 2. Again, that's November 22nd, 7 p.m. against Louisville. We can't wait to see you there. And fans, be sure to stick around after tonight's match to get your posters signed by members of the Virginia volleyball team on the court. Once again, there will be an autograph session open to all fans at the conclusion of tonight's match.
Couple of hours into the 82nd meeting between the Cavaliers and the Hokies. Virginia leading this fourth set by a count of 17-12. Cavaliers saw their lone set victory thus far sandwiched in the middle at 25-16 in the second. Near side pin, receiving just the contact she had hoped for. Haley Pierce able to get the job done for the Hokies. Erica Deleski, 18 assists. She has 5 digs tonight. right in there for the perfect contact, the libero. Both liberos involved. It'll end in front of Virginia Tech, and the Cavaliers inching closer to 20 in this fourth set. Kate Johnson, the catalyst. Dupre the finish. That separates her from Tatter. They were even at 11 kills apiece. Dupre now leading everybody on both sides. Pearson Patrick with 11 apiece at the top of the stat sheet for Virginia Tech. How often do you see that symmetry? 4 players, 2 on each side, 11 kills apiece this deep in the match. Not the case any longer, as the lone player, having seen both sides of this rivalry, placed herself out in front of everyone else with that 12th, but follows it up here with a less than desired outcome. And Haley Pierce, who's one of those we just discussed, is now on the serve line with Virginia Tech's 14th point in the book. Just inside the pin, right down the line and landing it. Speaking of Dupre, here she goes to that serve line once more. Don't know the story, and you weren't with us at the beginning. She's out of Alexandria, product of the DMV, Flint Hill, where everything started on the prep side of things. From a family of athletes and All-American mom, Kathy Wilson Dupre of Tar Heel fame. Still in the top 20 on the all-time points scored list in this point of basketball that we referenced earlier tonight, which gets underway in JPJ on the men's side on this night in Charlottesville. And after winning 3 letters at Flint High School, took her talents to Blacksburg 2021 to 2023. Played in over 60 matches for the Hokies. And now among the headliners, you can make the case the headliner for the Cavaliers on this night at 13 kills. One of the main reasons Virginia is looking to close out a 4th set and even up the match. A side out from the Hokies here. And Virginia Tech in position to perhaps go on a run, but it is short-lived. All smiles around Becca White and company. The Cavaliers within 3 at 22-15. Point, Virginia. If you're wondering about the kills total at 13, she tied her career high of 20 in that 4-set win over Hofstra early in the year. Had 20 against the Monarchs in a 3-set match, tied for 5th in that type of scenario in UVA history. In a battle with Old Dominion in late August. Just beginning to introduce herself to who's faithful at that time. Ways away from her own personal high water mark, but very much in the thick of things for UVA here tonight. Cavaliers 2 away. You can make it 1. From ratcheting up the intensity of this Commonwealth class rivalry once again in Mim Gym. Who's needing a single point in a series nearly evenly split to have evenly split The first 4 sets in this first of 2 this week between the rivals. Hokies with an answer. They're not going quietly here in the 4th set. By the way, Walgren 11. Pierce 11, and before what you just saw there, Patrick 11. She now has 12. That trio leading the way for Virginia Tech in real time. Bell Patrick, who has one of the 3 service aces tonight. Pierce and Robinson the other 2. It's Patrick back on the serve line. Virginia needing just the point. Right back off the block, and the Cavaliers, with a count of 25-17, are going to see to it that fans in Mim Gym stick around a little for that ACC win, and of course for the Commonwealth bragging rights in Mim Gym on this night. 82nd meeting has its 5th set underway. If you missed it earlier, 41 wins for Virginia, 40 wins for Virginia Tech, trying to even up that series and snap the string of 4 consecutive won by UVA. Virginia Tech notches the first point of our sprint to 15. Will we have the back and forth of that opening set that was so entertaining? You'll remember it began with a 3-0 run for the Hokies, which set the tone for the night. Or could this enjoy the separation the 2 teams have enjoyed in their other set victories? Trying to create that early separation, Virginia Tech has a 2-0 advantage. And Bell Patrick, who's done more than anyone else in the kills department tonight on the Virginia Tech side, has her 13th. She's now even with the Tech transfer, who has 13 for Virginia tonight, Dupre, and they find themselves atop their respective sheets. Big smile for Abby Tatter as she puts Virginia on the scoreboard in this 5th set. It's 2-1. Makings of a tremendous rally perhaps here. The back and forth continues on the 4th point of this sprint, and the point will go to Virginia Tech. You know, this mindful in many ways when you think about the thrilling nature, the back and forth nature of it, of that first ever volleyball game in John Paul Jones Arena these 2 teams played a year ago. How much excitement that created around the Commonwealth for this sport. If you like what you're seeing tonight, they're going to be back at it head-to-head at Castle Coliseum over in Blacksburg on November 8th, just a couple of nights away, as they will complete the home and home. A series that began all the way back in 1979, October the 9th. Straight sets victory for the Hokies, the most recent straight sets victory back on the 25th of November a year ago. For the Hoos, no straight sets victory tonight. Again, a 5-set thriller that sees its first 6 points of the 5th set split down the middle. Swinging away up on that front side and able to get the contact they had hoped for. Virginia with a slight advantage, a 4-3 split. Following the service ace to equalize from Dode. A 4-3 advantage on the Kate Dean kill. Another moment to celebrate for UVA, and there's what could be considered, at least to this point, in the 5th set, some separation. As you can make it 5-3 following the attack error. Far side pin. Libero to the deck to keep it alive. Near side pin, somehow lofted up from the Virginia Tech side, though the Hokies cannot work it across, and the Hoos take a 6-3 advantage. Just the right amount of touch for Virginia and Becca White tonight. And 6 kills to her credit. 1 dig and a trio of blocks. Those the contributions of 30 on this night for UVA, and she is all smiles with her teammates. Just a reminder of that extended stoppage we had in the 3rd set when the teams dueled it out and danced off a bit. Virginia with plenty to celebrate right now, as after falling behind initially in this 5th set, the Cavaliers have built a 6-3 advantage. About the comparisons between these programs, though this has been a tremendous campaign for UVA. If you haven't been completely dialed in and you just kind of keep an eye on the Commonwealth Clash, whatever the sport may be, this Virginia volleyball team, led by the 6 seniors, Borum, Tatter, Lee, Chameleon, Velasquez, and of course Dupre, who we've talked about from both sides of the rivalry, had a 17-4 start, which was the best since 2003, and is still looking for some postseason opportunities. We'll look at McGee. As we have discussed, the athletic department's in full for these two teams at times tonight. But is this volleyball team trying to make their mark athletically and come away with what would be just a 3rd all-time NCAA tournament appearance and a 1st since the turn of the century, since all the way back at '99. A good week against Virginia Tech, a solid finish in ACC play. That'll be a major catalyst for what the hopes would be for a return to form for Virginia. For Virginia Tech, well, it's about the bragging rights and a 2nd impact moment in the ACC they're chasing here tonight, as the Hokies try to begin to climb the ladder in the 18-team league. Multiple glances, meaning a Virginia point, and it's 7-3 Hoos. We talked about men's teams, and you see some looks around the women's team getting the job done in their opener at John Paul Jones just a couple of nights ago. And now with eyes on and cheering on this volleyball team that is finding its rhythm to the tune of an 8-3 advantage as they switch them up in a 5th set. Virginia trying to claim sets 4 and 5 to snatch away its latest victory in the Commonwealth Clash. Fans enjoying themselves inside Mim Gym off a couple of setbacks at the hands of top 15 foes. These teams dueling it out in the Commonwealth Clash, and Virginia Tech after the switch up with some type of response, though they have been doubled up to this point by UVA in the 5th set. An even 200, the clip at which Virginia has hit in full tonight. 181 for Virginia Tech. Still a +4 advantage in blocks for the Hokies. A +2 advantage in aces for UVA. Statistical categories showing you how even this one was through 4. Who is going to get the job done in the 5th? One step closer to Virginia being the answer to that question. Who celebrate a 9th point? Reminder for you, that contest coming up on Friday in Blacksburg also going to be available to you on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. ACC Network Extra contest coming your way from Blacksburg on Friday night, the 8th, to complete the home and home in this Commonwealth Clash volleyball style. Trying to complete things here at home. Another beautiful delivery. Becca White coming into her own in this 4th and 5th set type scenario. She's closing in on double figures with swings like these. Not to mention a trio of blocks. She, Tatter, and Dean, all with 3 of those apiece to lead the way in that category. It's been an all-hands-on-deck effort for a Virginia team tonight that is out front 10-4 as the Hokies want a timeout here in the 5th. Well, it's the freshman and the sophomore from Ohio, White and Bowie, who have made their way toward the top of the stat sheet. 9 kills and 8 kills respectively. Tucked in behind, Dupre and Tatter, who we have discussed all night long, still pacing things for a UVA team up front 10-4. As a near joust at the net stalls things, but only for a moment as the rally continues. Far side pin, and the point will be awarded Virginia Tech. On the maximum touches for UVA. 10-5 our score now. As Virginia has still doubled up the Hokies here in the 5th. The teams to gather up and talk it over. Our officials doing the same as we pause mid-5th in the Commonwealth Clash for another look. After a second look, Virginia fans celebrate. You saw the team reaction, and the 8-1 scoring run for UVA remains as the Cavaliers find themselves 5 away in the 5th from another 5-set victory, which would be, that's the operative number, a 5th straight win over the Hokies. Virginia Tech not going quietly, however. Been an impressive night for the Hokies. 26-24 in the opening set. who out of Blacksburg claimed the third set 25-19 to put pressure on Virginia, who's battled back 25-17 and are now up 10-5. One of the reasons it's been a strong night, Erica Doleski puts this in effect for the Hokies. The joust just inside the pin for our side. This set up now for Borum, who goes down the line with it, but it's still alive. Set by Johnson, and in the end too strong. It'll be a Virginia Tech point. Hokies within 4. Whatever happens in this one tonight, they play, as we've said, in 2 nights in Blacksburg. After that trip to Blacksburg, we get a chance to tell you now as the teams will gather up once more, with every point contested in these moments, and rightfully so, with so much on the line. A little further goes the journey after the trip to Blacksburg for UVA. They will make the West Coast trip at Stanford on the 14th, at Cal on the 15th, before coming home to host Louisville and Notre Dame. Then a much shorter journey to Chapel Hill on the 27th of the month before closing out the regular campaign with the Boston College team that is the most recent Virginia win in a 5-set contest back on the 27th of October. How the schedule shakes out for a team enjoying themselves in 2024. Why not? We gave you the indicators: a 17-4 start, best since 2003. Going for that ACC win total that takes you back to the 2005 days, as they search for an 8th conference win tonight. An effort to place themselves at 18 overall in the win column, and back in the win column after a challenging weekend here at home against a pair of top 12 opponents. Well, as it was the case with that most recent review, things hold steady where they were. 10-6 is the Virginia advantage. And Erica Doleski again for the Hokies. Quite an adjustment required, and too strong in an effort to land it from Borum. Hokies within 3. And that initiates a stoppage at 10-7. After Virginia sprinted out front with that 5th set run, things much tighter with everything on the line in the sprint to 15. Timeout, UVA. Cavaliers led it by a count of 10-4. That's when the Hokies went to work. Pulled to within 10-7, and Virginia answers as they have throughout the night. Fresh off the Shannon Wells timeout, well planned and well executed. It puts the Hoos up 11-7. 5th set inside of Mim Gym. Hokies won the 1st and the 3rd sets. Virginia winning the 2nd and the 4th sets tonight. Bill Patrick and Haley Pierce as advertised alongside Walgren. 14, 12, and 11 kills respectively for the Hokies. Prey has led the way after coming over to Charlottesville. As she's atop the stat sheet for Virginia, though, as we said it, the freshman and the sophomore from Ohio making their presence known. White, Bowie having their name called of late, but it is still Dupre 13, Tabby 12. White there with him now with 11, the trio in double figures in terms of the impact for UVA. Trading points now, and it's in Virginia Tech's hands with Pierce putting it in action. It's a little bit of a reset for you of what's happened between these two in this one. Who will take the reins down the stretch? Still alive somehow from the Virginia Tech side. One of the better rallies of the night. And it'll end with the Virginia block right up on the net, far side pin. And the Hoos are 2 away at 13-8. Cavaliers looking to stay out front in a rivalry that dates back to the late 1970s. Attempting to claim the 82nd edition tonight for a 42nd win all time against their rivals in this Commonwealth Clash contest. Lee to serve. +3 in blocks to the Hokies. +2 in service aces for UVA. +4 in kills for the Cavaliers. As we track the key numbers, and back in action it goes. There's that block again for UVA. This time near side pin, just as true as Tatter and Borum celebrate together once more. Virginia on the verge, with a match point in effect against the Hokies. Driven home, far side pin, kept alive. But right where she needs to be is Abby Tatter to provide the Virginia finish, and the Hoos storm back by claiming sets 4 and 5. This one by a count